Hello, my name is Kathy, and today I will continue the talk on release dreams. But before I do this, I wanted to let you know that because I have a great many videos now on many different topics, that I've decided to make several different video playlists so that it's easy to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. Today we'll talk about another specific release dream theme and how to analyze them for yourself. Today, let's look at another very common release dream, the one where you're naked in public or experience some other type of public embarrassment. Remember that one of the hallmarks to help you determine if your dream is a release dream or not is the fact that there is usually some very strange features to a release dream, like a unicorn subtly making an appearance, or a bicycle that turns into a truck, or some totally unusual situation occurring. Being naked in public. In these release dreams about being naked in public, or we are experiencing some other kind of public embarrassment, we can be totally naked and sometimes only partially undressed. But in all these dreams of being embarrassed in public, we feel embarrassed, ashamed, and oddly, usually incapable of making an exit or finding some relief for the embarrassing situation. Another strange thing about these dreams is that usually the people who see us don't care. They seem totally indifferent to both our embarrassment and to our suffering. In some of these dreams of being publicly embarrassed, we know the people who are looking at us. They might be friends or even family members. This type of release dream almost always seems to end badly. The dreamer is more or less frozen with embarrassment, and we wake up feeling absolutely terrible. Only rarely do dreamers tell of not being embarrassed and of actually finding unexpected comfort in their embarrassing dream situations. Dream analysts will say that this dream theme of being naked in public is expressing the dreamer's feeling of guilt or of inferiority, or the theory goes that in the naked state or the embarrassing situation, the dreamer shows their shortcomings and can be easily criticized by others, and thus having reason to be ashamed of themselves. Very often these dreams indicate a fear of exposure, and that's true for the most part, although we can go a little deeper than that. They can also hint at a feeling of being unprepared or too vulnerable, without enough internal defense mechanisms to protect ourselves. And then there is a fear of being a target of ridicule, or of people catching us with our guard or pants down, without the facades we have all developed for public consumption. While dreams like these bring into sharp focus our fears of exposure, they also encompass the fact that we all have a secret or two, something about ourselves that we keep hidden, and out of the correct belief that it's no one else's business. And if our business is ever thrown open to public scrutiny, we would lose any dignity, respect, and credibility we have worked so hard to establish. It's been my experience that these dreams tend to express not a wish, but an anxiety and a worry about being overexposed, of the dreamer feeling terribly vulnerable and feeling that they will be criticized and not have any defenses at their disposal, hence the nakedness or the embarrassing nature of the dream. The indifference of the onlookers makes them think that their concern about being overexposed is exaggerated and that the rest of the world doesn't really notice their sense of vulnerability or nakedness. Occasionally, it will be found that the dreamer was naked in a dream and at first was very embarrassed by their nakedness, then realized it didn't really matter and woke up feeling just fine about the whole thing. These dreams can also signal a growing sense of the dreamer's comfort with their body and perhaps with their sexuality. Let's look at a couple of examples now of the dream theme of being naked in public. Our first example is a man in his mid-30s who dreamt that he was standing in the middle of a busy street in a large metropolitan city amongst 6 lanes of traffic when he suddenly realized he was naked from the waist down. He felt very awkward in his dream and didn't know what to do. When this dream was analyzed, one of the first questions asked was how he felt about being naked in the middle of the busy street. And he responded that he was very embarrassed. He was asked why he was embarrassed, and he said that the cars were going very fast. The drivers were very aggressive in their driving style, and as a result of this, he was feeling very vulnerable. After some reflection, he was then able to bridge the dream feelings to those he was having in his waking life, in particular in his new job, where he was surrounded by very aggressive people and needed to learn how to toughen up and learn how to stand up for himself in his professional battles. In our next example, we have a young man that dreamt of being naked in a public school setting. In the dream, the young man was standing naked in the middle of a busy hallway with lockers on either side of the brightly lit hall. All the students had bustled and opened lockers and, walking to their classes, were chatting with one another and seemed to take no notice of this young man in his naked state. This young man felt awkward and very embarrassed, and he kept opening lockers, trying to find some clothes that he could put on, but no matter how hard he searched, he could not find any clothes to cover himself. When this dream was analyzed, he was asked how he felt about being naked in the school hallway, and he responded that he was very embarrassed and felt extremely vulnerable. He was then asked why he was embarrassed in the dream, and he said that he felt like he couldn't hide his body, which he felt very self-conscious about, and he felt that he would be criticized and ridiculed by the other students, and this was his reason for being ashamed and embarrassed. It was easy at this point to draw the parallels with his own waking life. He had just started a new school and felt very insecure about the way he looked, but the indifference of the other students in the dream made him realize that these fears about his appearance were only a concern to him, and that no one else cared about that. In our next example of a dream of being naked in public, we have a middle-aged woman who dreamt that she was attending a beautiful party at a posh ski resort in Aspen, Colorado. She was staying in a fabulous private home, and everyone was dancing and having a good time on the first floor. She decided to go upstairs and take a bath in her hostess's luxurious bathroom. The bathtub was a beautiful sapphire blue, about 10 feet by 10 feet square, and was about 4 feet deep, very reminiscent of an old Roman bathtub. She got into the tub as beautiful music was playing. She was happy just to relax and soak in the tub, but then she noticed that other people were walking by the bathroom and that the door was wide open. At first she was embarrassed, thinking that she should get out of the warm tub, close the door, and make sure no one could see her. But then she thought, it's no big deal. I don't care if they see me. I'm having such a wonderful time. When the dream was analyzed, the first question that the dreamer was asked was to describe her feelings in the dream. When she did this, she realized that her feelings in the dream perfectly paralleled her growing sense of confidence in her own sensuality and her ability to go after what she wants in life. She was surprised that in the dream she was able to stop worrying about being seen. Being reminded her of her own determination to become more comfortable both in public and in private with her sensual sexual self. To help you analyze your being naked in public dream, ask yourself the following questions. 1. Describe the setting in which you are naked. 2. Ask yourself how you feel about being naked in this setting. Explain this as if you were talking to someone that has no clue about how a person might feel in this type of a situation. 3. Now ask yourself if there is any situation in your current life in which you feel as you do in the dream. For example, overexposed or vulnerable. 4. In the dream, does anyone else care that you're naked? 5. If no one else in the dream cares that you are so exposed, could it be that in your waking life you are overly concerned with being vulnerable or feeling emotionally exposed? 6. Do the feelings and situations in the dream remind you of any situation in your recent or past waking life? 7. If this dream does remind you of a situation in your recent or past waking life, what are these similarities? 8. Is there anything you could do to relieve your anxiety, such as discussing it with a friend or a therapist? I have a great many videos now on many different topics, and so I've decided to create several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. Well, that's it for now. To stay up to date with my latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this free YouTube channel by clicking the red subscribe button right below this video. Take care.